Hello guys, have you ever wondered how you can control time in games like Prince of Persia or Time Shift? Well, in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how you can rewind time in Unreal 5. I'm very excited for this one because this is a very cool ability and I can't wait to show you how to do it. So let's just get into it. So what is the whole idea of this time rewind? It's very simple. We're going to have a blueprint component, so we can place it in any blueprint we want, and we're going to have this rewind functionality. And if you open this component here, it may look a bit daunting, but don't worry, it's nothing serious. It's very simple. And the idea is that we're going to basically store the actor location in every tick of the game, in every moment, and then when we rewind, we're going to call back on the previous actor transform and then remove the last one. So every time we do it, we will remove the last one and we're going to get back in time. I'm showing you this so you can get the idea of how it's done, but we're going to do this together from scratch. And this is just the one that we're going to use for the AI, because the AI actually needs a different variable than the other components. Not other components, but other actors. So it's as simple as that. And if we want to have this functionality, as I said, in any blueprint, for example, this is our AI blueprint, and it's very simple. If I play the game, these guys are going to follow me, and if I press G, they will rewind in time, and then they will follow me again. If I press it again, they will rewind. It's very simple, and if we want to add this functionality to any blueprint, anything at all, we can, for example, open this one, and as you see, there is this time reversal component. All you need to do in order to add this component to something in your game is to find the component and just drop it here. Now I don't need two of them, but yeah, I already have this one, so I'm going to use it. Also, there is a little setup, but we're going to get into it when we create it. So let's just start creating this, and yeah. So first, let's create our component. Right-click, Blueprint class, and Actor component. Name it Blueprint Time Rewind. And now here in the event tick, this is where we need to store all our variables. First, let's create one and call it isRewinding, and hold B and press left mouse button, connect for branch, and now get the isRewind variable, check if it's true in the branch, and if it's false, we're going to need another variable, which is actor transform. This is the transform that we're going to use to store our actor's location. And now here we need to change the variable type to transform, because that's what we need. And we need to make it array, because we're going to store multiple elements. So now if we get the actor transform and add array, we are going to have this thing, and we're going to add to this array only if we're not rewinding. So if we're rewinding, we're going to have the other functionality, that is removing the last array and assigning the transform. So now here what we need is another variable, and I'm going to explain to you a bit later, but static mesh, let's call it static mesh, and we're going to get a static mesh component. And we're doing this, it needs to be single, so make sure it's single here. And then here we need to get its transform. So get world transform and connect it to here. So we are going to add this transform. So this static mesh is how we are going to connect. For example, if I want to apply this component to, let's say, this projectile, all I need to do is drag and drop it here. So if I drag and drop it here, I'm going to have the time reversal or time rewind here, right? However, currently we're getting this transformation, but where do we get which mesh, which thing we are getting it from? And this is the tricky part. We need to assign it, and we're going to assign it by this. If we go to begin play, and here we can simply get our rewind. Again, this is the time reversal, the one that I had before, but if I delete, actually I don't need to delete it, but for now the time rewind. And here if we set static mesh, and remember we're currently in our projectile, this one, we're just setting the whole mesh thing. And now I can grab the sphere, and now this sphere, this one here, is assigned to the target. So this is from here we're getting, in this static mesh we're getting the position of this sphere. That's why we're doing this. And let me show you a trick, actually that's not connected to this, but you see how this pin here, if I zoom a bit, and I'm doing it with holding control and zoom, you see how it's not straight. There's a trick I learned today. If you select these two nodes and press Q, it will straighten it, and this goes for anything. If I press, it will straighten these nodes. So that's pretty cool. So let's continue with our tutorial. So now what happens if we're rewinding? Well, if we're rewinding, we need to actually check if we get this actor transform, copy and paste it, and do another branch. And now we need to actually get the last index. And here if we check this, if it's greater than 0, and we're doing this so we know if we have stored anything in this actor array. So if we have stored anything in this actor array, we're just going to set our static mesh transform. So get the static mesh component, and now set world transform. Make sure it's world transform, and here what we need is the new transform, right? We can easily get this by, again, let me organize a bit. Get actor transform. Actually, I can just copy paste this one. So now here I can just get a copy and get the index, the last index, and connect it to transform. So we're going to get the transform of the last listing that we created here, and we're going to assign the world transform to this static mesh, which, if you remember, we're going to set it to be the mesh of the blueprint that we're going to put it on. So now we need to do one last thing, and again we're going to copy paste this. Again, let's organize it a bit. We can just get this and do remove index. We need to do this because we need to remove the last index and get the index after that. This is how we actually rewind time. And now this is pretty good. We have what happens if we haven't stored anything, but what happens if we actually have had more than 1 second in the game. Basically all we need to do is actually copy paste this and connect it to here, and it's literally the same with the exception that we don't remove the last index because we don't have any last index. So now that we have all this functionality, which is almost all we need to rewind time, now we need to somehow connect it to the first person character, and I have already done it here, but I'm going to show you how to do it. And first, in this in our blueprint component for the time reversal, we need to have 2 functions, so let's create them. And you can name it however you want, but I will going to name it rewind, and the next one is going to be named forward. And these are the same names that I use for my event dispatchers. So let's what we need to do in these functions here, in these events actually, is set this rewind, right? So if I set this here to be true, let's do this, and the forward will be false. Now we need to connect these events with these event dispatchers. If you have seen my video for blueprints communication, you probably already know what to do and how to do this, but let's do it together from scratch. Now if I remove all this functionality and yeah, just create in the first person character, create this variable which is rewind, and if we get it, do a branch. So if we're rewinding, or rather if we pressed G and we're not rewinding, we need to set the rewind to true. And then all I need to do here is you can just click here and name event dispatcher, your event dispatcher, but I already have these 2, so all I need to do is call them. So call this one here, and now for the released, let's just check again, and if we're rewinding, we actually need to set this to false and call the forward. So now we have these event dispatchers, and we have these 2 functions or other events here. And the way to connect them is first we need to bind these events. So if we go to begin play, event begin play, let's get it here, we will bind them on begin play, cast to first person character, and for the object, of course, we need the player character. So let's get that, and here now we can actually get our rewind, and we need to bind the rewind event, or rather event dispatcher, and we just need to bind it here. And now I'm going to call the forward, actually bind the forward, sorry, and I'm going to bind it to the forward event from here. And now we have them bind, and if I press G, what will happen is you will call this event, which is bind to this event, which actually sets our isRewind boolean to true, and if rewind boolean is true, we're going to trigger this rewind functionality. let's get organized. So we're going to call our rewind functionality, and that's pretty simple. And now let's get these guys. So here I already did, as I said, some functionality, but I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to remove the time reversal, and I'm going to add my time rewind. So this is how simple it is. Drag and drop it here, and now we need to set this static mesh variable. And if you try to do it right now, static mesh, you will find yourself in a bit of a struggle. You cannot do it. And actually, we don't even want to do it for this mesh, but it will give us bugs. You can try it to do it yourself to see what will happen, but it will give us bugs. So we can't use this one here. We can use it, for example, in here, because this is a static mesh. However, for the characters, including the first person, also our character here, they use skeleton meshes. However, I don't even want to move this one. I don't want to get this one. I want to get the transform of the capsule. So what type of variable component we need? So if you select the capsule, and you can even do this, drag and drop the capsule here, and you'll notice in the variable type it's capsule collision component. Right, so all we need to do is in time rewind, go to variables, and here capsule, I will add a capsule collision component. And now we have this. However, again, it won't work from here, so let me organize it a bit. This is skeleton mesh, come on, skeletal mesh. And now we need the AI version. So let's go to variables and is AI, and this needs to be a boolean, because we are going to check if our object or our parent of this component, the parent of the component, if it's AI, we're going to use another reference here. For it won't be static mesh, but it will be capsule. So all we need to do is copy paste this. It's literally the same, but with different static mesh. And we can do it in a better, more organized way, but for the sake of this tutorial, let's just do it like this. And now, if I get my capsule, just drag and drop it to here, and you see the node changes. That's also a pretty cool way to change the references. And now you have the capsule. And if you go to this is the AI rewind, this is the blueprint of these guys here. And now if you go to time rewind here, if you drag and drop it and get capsule, actually not get, sorry, set capsule, and remember this is this one here, right? This one. So we need to get it, or rather to set it, and now we're going to set it to this capsule component, not this, sorry, like that. And now we have it set. Also, now we need to create the functionality of the AI following us, and that's also pretty simple. AI move 2 we have this function created by Unreal, I mean not Unreal but Epic Games, and the target actor is player character, so they will move towards me, and on fail we need delay, delay, come on, delay, and if it fails, so every second it will when begin play triggers, it will trigger this AI move, and it will move like 1 centimeter or something, and it will have a delay, and then it will trigger this node again, and it will move until its acceptance radius is met. However, I really need a very small one, but that doesn't actually matter because we are going to do the same on success. I want it to follow me no matter what. And here let's save. Now if I play the game, they don't do anything, right? It doesn't work because we need on the palm, we need to actually create a self-reference, and it will get our palm, so it will basically get the controller of our palm. So if we save and press play, now they're following us, and actually now if I press G, actually nothing happens. Why nothing happens? Let's figure this out. Nothing happens because if you select this component here, the timer wind, you notice that is AI, is false. So we're actually using this part here, which is for the other actors. So now all we need to do is enable this one, compile, and press, and now we can rewind them. If I press G, now they move back. And this is how you can control time in Unreal. So again, we can use these guys, but I have this AI shooter from my game, and you can do the same. You see? Reverse the shot. It's pretty cool, it can get really cool. And basically I'm just pressing once when the AI shoot at me, I'm pressing G once, and what it does is actually change its direction. It just keeps falling the direction. And if I press G a few times, it will forward and backwards. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know if that's how you would like it in your game, but that's how I have programmed okay, yeah, this is Unreal 5. The sound of these explosions, they are pretty loud, but as I was saying, this is how you actually rewind time in Unreal 5. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you learned something new today, and if you did, please smash the like button. This really helps me a lot. It helps me for the YouTube algorithm, so if you like the video, like it. If you want to learn more about Unreal, blueprints and other things, I'm going to cover everything in Unreal that I can think of. Materials, even VFXs. I'm very excited for the VFX part. I can't wait to do some VFXs. But yeah, so yeah, subscribe if you want to learn more. And thank you very much for watching this video and staying until the end. And see you in the next one.